let's bring in our political editor, Andrew Clennell, because a few developments this morning, I should say, in particular when it comes to this interesting development, if we can call it that, from the AFP, that, you know, foreign actors, bad actors are paying off local criminals with cryptocurrency. If that turns out to be true, what's going on behind the scenes?
Well, I think police believe this, but I would hasten to say James Patterson's been out saying if this is foreign actors, this is the biggest national security crisis of our lifetime. Foreign government, should I say. I don't believe at the moment the intelligence is it's foreign governments. My understanding is at the moment at least, and they don't rule out anything, it's individuals who are paying criminals, allegedly, to do this. And there's intelligence to that effect. Now, why have the federal police put this out? Well, it's a good question, isn't it? Why do they put anything out? To assist with investigations, I guess, to try to get information. That's my understanding about it. And there was intention to put this out, as I understand it, over the next week. Anyway, no doubt the rush sort of national cabinet admission of a meeting prompted this revelation. I mean, it's really disturbing, these attacks. Obviously, at one point or another, you'd have to fear someone's going to die. And, you know, they need to get on top of it. And I think this is part of that process. And, you know, we're not talking about a bunch of intelligent, highly sophisticated people here. When there was one report of a woman asking for jerry cans on public Facebook pages, but that doesn't matter. People can still die, even if it's idiots doing it.
Yeah, I mean, and this has happened overseas, and it's been Iran that's been behind it for obvious reasons. Not to suggest that that's happening here, but, I mean, there's probably a working assumption that it is.
That's not the suggestion at this point, as I understand.
Okay, but if not Iran.
Well, not a foreign government, as I say.
But if it's an individual, would an individual be part of a...
Well, that's a possibility. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, it could also be groups sympathetic to Hamas or whatever. So, but that's what I can tell you about my knowledge of why it's occurred and what's occurred at this stage.
Let's go to this other story, Sue Lyons. Still more questions than answers, I feel. It's a good scoop here from Cam Redden. Who's going? And
well, the two ministers are going.
Why was she on the list, though? That hasn't been explained.
Well, maybe she was put on the list and then they decided, well, you said this in 2022, so let's take you off. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory to me, but he certainly doesn't want to talk about it at the PM, that's for sure.
Yeah. Was it an own goal here? I mean, I went to the last one 10 years ago and Josh Frydenberg was there. An own goal by not checking up on comments that were made in the past.
No, of course. But, I mean, which bit of the whole handling of this issue was an own goal, I guess I was asking. I mean, look, he needs to get on top of this, the PM, and this is Peter Dutton's safe space, this sort of law and order issue, and he just needs to get better at it. I mean, he was a little bit better in that press conference, but he was also using words, bureaucratic words like agency. Oh, you're not giving them agency, the perpetrators. Well, no one talks like that in normal language.
No, that's
what you should say is, we're not going to get off the fact this is the fault of the perpetrators. This is not the fault of our law enforcement authorities. And keep mentioning yourself as at one with the law enforcement authorities. There's some 101 stuff that's not happening from the PM and the communication
That reminded me of police talk. You know,
in other words, he's just got a briefing saying that from a bureaucrat and repeated it. No good.
And it flies over everyone's head.
You've got to translate bureaucratese. That's what we have to do.
For simpletons like us. Thank you, Andrew.